This presentation is titled The Vast Natural Resource Powerhouse That is Canada. My name is Helena Aves, and I am a geologist with a very keen interest in history.
My name is Chris Aves, and I am a cultural historian. Join us as we explore Canada's wealth and economics gained from tar sands, diamonds, gold, and a multitude of other natural resources. We will also examine aluminum that made Canada so important during World War II, quite a story since bauxite, the natural resource for aluminum, is not found in Canada. Canada is a vast and diverse country with varied physical features that have made the country rich with natural resources. Canada's natural resources include valuable metals and minerals, fossil fuels, timber, fertile soil, potash, fresh water, and marine resources.
Canada is a significant producer of several precious metals, playing a notable role in the global market. Canada is a major global gold producer, consistently ranking among the top countries. Gold is found across various regions, with significant production coming from provinces like Ontario, Quebec, British Columbia, and territories like Yukon and Nunavut. While often produced as a byproduct of mining other metals like copper, lead, and zinc, silver is also found in dedicated silver deposits in Canada. Platinum group metals, which includes platinum, palladium, rhodium, ruthenium, osmium, and iridium. Canada holds significant reserves of PGMs and is a notable producer, particularly of palladium and platinum. The mining industry employs some 388,000 Canadians and contributed $47 billion to Canada's GDP in 2018.
Canada possesses vast and diverse hydrocarbon resources, making it a significant global energy producer and exporter. These resources primarily consist of crude oil, including oil sands and conventional oil, natural gas, including shale gas and tight gas, and natural gas liquids. The photo here is one of the original mine pits at Syncrude's Mildred Lake oil sands site. We'll discuss these resources later in the presentation.
Base metals are common, non-precious, and non-noble metals that are not typically resistant to corrosion or oxidation. They are widely used in industry and manufacturing due to their abundance and lower cost compared to precious metals like gold or silver. Examples of base metals include copper, aluminum, lead, nickel, tin, and zinc. Canada is rich in base metal resources, which are essential for various industrial applications in manufacturing. Copper, nickel, zinc, lead, and molybdenum. If you are wondering what that is, molybdenum is primarily used as an alloying element in steel and cast iron to increase strength, hardness, and corrosion resistance. It is also used in catalysts, lubricants, and pigments. In Canada, molybdenum is mainly produced in British Columbia, both from primary molybdenum mines and as a byproduct of copper mining.
Canada's vast and varied landscapes from coast to coast to coast support an incredible diversity of fish and wildlife resources. These resources are integral to Canada's biodiversity, economy, culture, and the traditions of Indigenous peoples. With the world's longest coastline bordering 3 oceans, namely Atlantic, Arctic, and Pacific, Canada has rich marine ecosystems. These waters support commercially important fish species like cod, salmon, herring, shrimp, lobster, and crab.
Canada is a heavily forested nation with vast timber resources that are vital to its environment, economy, and many communities. The country's forests cover approximately 367 million hectares, which translates to some 907 million acres, representing about 9% of the world's total forest area and a significant portion of the global boreal forest.
Canada is a global leader in hydroelectric power generation, with moving water being the largest source of electricity in the country. Hydroelectricity accounts for over 60% of Canada's total electricity generation. This makes it the backbone of the Canadian electricity system and gives Canada one of the cleanest electricity grids among G20 nations. Canada is the third largest producer of hydroelectricity in the world.
The Canadian Shield is the primary area where natural mineral resources are found. The Shield, also known as the Laurentian Shield or Laurentian Plateau, is a vast and ancient geological region that forms the core of the North American continent. It is a significant and defining physical feature of Canada. The rocks of the Canadian Shield are among the oldest on Earth, with the bedrock largely dating back to the Precambrian era. This ancient core of North America features areas as old as 4.28 billion years, though much of the Shield's formation occurred between 2.5 and 1.24 billion years ago through the amalgamation of various geological fragments. While the Shield's bedrock is exceptionally old, the sedimentary cover is generally much younger and relatively thin due to extensive glacial erosion during the Pleistocene epoch. However, younger sediments are present in specific locations. Paleozoic and Mesozoic sediments are found in the Central Depression, occupied by Hudson Bay. Late Proterozoic sediments are located in sedimentary basins such as the Athabasca and Thelon basins. Some Cretaceous and more recent sediments are preserved in isolated outliers and bedrock valleys across the Shield.
The Shield is a massive area of bedrock covering 1/2 of the landmass. As previously stated, during the last glacial period, most of the soil was scraped off by glaciers. Some areas only have a thin layer of soil remaining. Due to this rock exposure, ore is easier to find, and mining is primarily open pit surface mining.
The discovery of the Sudbury Basin in the Canadian Shield, one of the world's richest areas of ore bodies. Railway construction at the end of the 19th century opened up new mining territories in northern Ontario and across the country. Construction led to the development of Canada's most significant mining area. The Sudbury Basin is one of the oldest and largest known impact structures on Earth. Formed approximately 1.85 billion years ago during the Paleoproterozoic era by the impact of a large asteroid or comet, it is a prominent geological feature of the Canadian Shield. Originally estimated to be around 200 to 250 kilometers in diameter, the immense forces of the impact and subsequent geological processes have deformed the crater into its current elliptical shape, which is approximately 62 kilometers long, 30 kilometers wide, and 15 kilometers deep, though the present-day surface is much shallower due to erosion. The impact was so powerful that debris was scattered over a vast area, with ejecta found as far away as Minnesota.
The Sudbury Basin is renowned for its rich mineral deposits, particularly nickel, copper, and platinum group elements. These valuable ore bodies are primarily concentrated in the Sudbury Igneous Complex, a body of melt rock that formed in the crater after the impact. The mineralization is thought to have resulted from the impact melting large volumes of the Earth's crust, allowing metals to concentrate as sulfide liquids settled within the melt sheet. Sudbury nickel was being produced in the 1880s. Sudbury became the nickel capital of the world in the 1930s.
The meteorite that created the Sudbury Basin, the third largest known impact crater on Earth, as well as one of the oldest. The area now known as Sudbury was not discovered in the sense of being previously unknown, as indigenous peoples, specifically the Ojibwe, had inhabited the region for thousands of years. However, the discovery that led to the establishment of the modern city and its renowned mining industry occurred in 1883. The area was too far of the beaten track, so mining started in early 20th century. The graphic depicts the impact area of the meteorite.
Here is a nice illustration of the meteorite impact and the resultant Sudbury crater. At the precise moment of impact, the kinetic energy of the massive projectile was instantaneously converted into immense heat and shock waves. The meteorite itself and a significant volume of the target rock were instantly vaporized. This created an incandescent plasma hotter than the surface of the sun, expanding rapidly outwards.
The meteorite impact would have triggered a massive magma intrusive event from the upper mantle as shown in the graphic. The shock waves propagated through the Earth's crust at hypersonic speeds, pulverizing, melting, and deforming the rock. In the immediate vicinity, pressures reached millions of times atmospheric pressure. Following the initial compressive shock, a tensile wave, known as a rarefaction wave, rebounded from the surface, further fracturing and excavating vast quantities of material. The upper mantle had very high concentrations of nickel, copper, and iron, as well as many other minerals. While the long-term consequences of the Sudbury impact included the formation of the rich ore deposits found in the region today, in significant environmental changes on a regional to potentially global scale. The impact moment itself was characterized by near instantaneous vaporization, immense shock pressures, massive excavation, and violent atmospheric disruption. It was a fleeting but profoundly transformative event that left an indelible mark on the geology of the Earth.
During the Second World War, Sudbury played an absolutely critical role in the Allied war effort, serving as the free world's primary source of nickel. The nickel mined in Sudbury was an indispensable component in the production of armaments, providing strength, hardness, and corrosion resistance to steel alloys used in everything from armor plating for tanks and ships to aircraft components and artillery. Sudbury supplied an astonishing 95% of all the nickel required by the Allied nations throughout the conflict. This vital contribution underscores the strategic importance of the region's geological riches. Only in the last decade has the Norilsk mine in Siberia, Russia, become the largest nickel-producing mine in the world. Ontario and Quebec are by far the largest producers of natural resources in Canada.
Let's discuss another natural resource for a moment. Besides being used as a fertilizer, potash is used in the manufacture of detergents, batteries, soaps, and animal feed. The primary location for potash is in Saskatchewan. Canada is consistently the world's top producer of potash fertilizer, based on recent data, including estimates for 2024 and figures for 2023. Canada leads the world by a significant margin in potash production. For example, in 2023, Canada produced an estimated 21.9 million tons, representing 32.4% of the global supply. Estimates for 2024 also show Canada as the leading producer, with figures around 15 to 16 million metric tons.
Changing the subject to history, we will now take a look at the vital importance of Canadian nickel, aluminum, and uranium resources to Allied war effort during World War II.
50% of Allied aluminum and 95% of Allied nickel was supplied by Canadian sources during the war. The Canadian company Eldorado Gold Mines, which produced uranium as a byproduct of gold and radium production, using ore from its mine at Port Radium in the Northwest Territories, was recruited by the Canadian government into involvement in the Manhattan Project. In particular, Eldorado's refinery at Port Hope processed ore from both Port Radium and the Belgian Congo to produce much of the uranium used in the little boy bomb that was dropped on Hiroshima, Japan.
In the spring of 1939, as Europe was teetering on the brink of war, Canada welcomed King George VI and Queen Elizabeth for a historic coast-to-coast tour. From May 17th to June 15th, the reigning monarchs captivated the nation, undertaking the first ever visit by a British sovereign to Canada. This landmark tour served multiple crucial purposes, solidifying Canada's evolving identity and reinforcing ties within the Commonwealth and with the United States in the face of rising global tensions. Precedence was broken by allowing Queen Elizabeth, the first female ever to go underground at the Froude mine. Nickel, a vital raw material and a foundation metal absolutely essential for the Allies' final victory. Nickel and nickel alloys created wide variety of civilian and military products. Guns, tanks, planes, battleships, and a host of other weaponry can only be made from hardened nickel steels and other nickel alloys.
Canada is the world's fourth largest producer of aluminum, after the US, Russia, and China, and the second largest exporting country after Russia. Strange, given that Canada has no bauxite or any raw material needed to produce aluminum. The Saguenay-Lac-Saint-Jean area in Quebec holds significant importance for the aluminum industry, both historically and in the present day. It is recognized as a major global hub for aluminum production and processing, often referred to as the Aluminum Valley. A critical advantage of the region is its access to vast hydroelectric resources. The aluminum smelting process is highly energy intensive, and the availability of clean, affordable, and reliable hydropower makes production in Saguenay economically competitive and environmentally more sustainable, resulting in low-carbon aluminum. Rio Tinto alone operates several hydropower plants in the area to power its operations.
The history of aluminum production in the Saguenay region dates back to the early 20th century with the establishment of facilities like the Arvida complex. For a period, the Arvida plant was the largest aluminum smelter in the world and played a crucial role in supplying aluminum for the Allied war effort during World War II. The Saguenay facilities were so prolific that Canada supplied 40% of the Allies' total aluminum production.
British Guiana, now Guyana, was the major supplier of high-grade bauxite to Canada during the war years. The aluminum produced in Canada was used by the American military for the production of aircraft. Roughly two-thirds of all Allied aircraft manufactured during the war years used this aluminum.
German U-boats were deployed in the Caribbean in an attempt to curtail supplies of petroleum and bauxite reaching the USA and Canada. We have a whole lecture on this subject, so check it out on YouTube, Imprisoned in the Caribbean. The 1942 German U-boat blockade of the Caribbean and its far-reaching effect.
Arvida was not a settlement that grew organically. It was a meticulously planned company town built from scratch by the Aluminum Company of America, known as Alcoa, under the direction of its president, Arthur Vining Davis, from whom the city's name is derived. The vision was to create an ideal living environment for the employees of the massive aluminum plant. Arvida is famous for the speed of its initial construction. A significant portion of the town, including hundreds of houses, was built in just 135 days in 1926, earning it the nickname "the city built in 135 days." This rapid development was a testament to the ambition and resources behind the project. The design of Arvida was influenced by prominent urban planning movements of the time, such as the City Beautiful and Garden City concepts. The layout featured wide boulevards, green spaces, parks, and a functional separation of industrial, residential, and institutional zones. The housing was diverse, with many different models built to accommodate workers of various levels within the company, reflecting a pioneering approach to worker housing that aimed for quality and variety. Some architectural styles were also influenced by regional aesthetics.
Bagottville has a notable history, particularly its establishment during World War II. It was built in 1942 to serve as a training base for pilots and, importantly, to provide air defense for the critical industrial infrastructure in the Saguenay area, including the vital aluminum production facilities in Arvida and the hydroelectric dams powering them. A Hawker Hurricane Squadron was permanently stationed to protect the area.
Arvida turned into the biggest aluminum production center in the Western world. So critical to the Allied effort during the Second World War that the city was guarded by anti-aircraft batteries as well as the fighter aircraft stationed at Bagottville. Arvida today is a sector within the larger amalgamated city of Saguenay. While it no longer exists as an independent municipality or solely as a company town in the historical sense, its legacy as a planned industrial city and its deep connection to the aluminum industry remain central to its identity. The aluminum industry remains a vital presence in Arvida. Rio Tinto continues to operate significant facilities there, building on the historical foundation laid by Alcoa and Alcan. These operations are a major source of employment and economic activity in the area.
We mentioned earlier that the uranium for Little Boy came from Canadian mines. That is true, however, the majority came from the Shinkolobwe mine in the Belgian Congo, now the Democratic Republic of Congo. This mine was known for its exceptionally high-grade uranium ore, which was crucial for the Manhattan Project's demanding production needs. Smaller amounts of uranium for the project were also sourced from other locations, including the United States, specifically the Colorado Plateau region, and Canada.
Canada is now the world's second largest producer of uranium, with 13% of global production in 2018. It now has the world's largest deposits of high-grade uranium ore that has up to 20% uranium, which is 100 times greater than the world average. Nearly 85% of Canada's uranium production is exported. The remainder is used to fuel domestic deuterium-uranium reactors.
There are only two primary uses for uranium, that being military and civilian. Nuclear power is a clean source of electricity, and generation capacity is growing. China is expected to lead the world in the construction of nuclear power plants as electricity demand continues its rapid growth. As of November 2021, China planned to build 150 new reactors at a cost of $440 billion, which is more reactors than the rest of the world has built over the past 35 years. Not to be left behind, India is also planning many more reactors.
In addition to base metals, precious metals are also mined. In Canada, most silver produced is mined as a byproduct from other metals. The main source is copper zinc, copper nickel, gold, and lead zinc ores. Gold is Canada's most valuable metal, with a production value of $18.6 billion in 2017. Ontario and Quebec together accounted for more than 75% of gold production in Canada.
The LaRonde gold mine is operated up to a depth of 1.8 miles below the surface, which makes it the deepest shaft in the Western Hemisphere. The complex primarily produces gold with byproducts of silver, zinc, and copper. The deposit is a gold-rich volcanogenic massive sulfide deposit located within the Blake River group of the Abitibi Greenstone Belt. The mineralization consists of sulfide lenses containing gold, silver, zinc, and copper. 8,400 workers operate the mine, and elevator cages carry 120 people at a time to 3 levels. The top speed of the elevators is 40 miles per hour, and the 1.6-mile trip from top to bottom takes 90 minutes. The mine consists of 236 miles of tunnels that lace the rock, 30 miles longer than the New York City subway system. Nunavut province is now a new mineral frontier for Canada. The location of new gold and iron mines as pointed to by the red arrow on the graphic. Early in 2021, Agnico Eagle Mines spent roughly $286.6 million to acquire TMAC Resources and its Hope Bay gold mine and an expansive land package in northwestern Nunavut.
This map shows where diamonds are currently being found in the world's oldest rock formation that is some 3.5 to 2.6 billion years old. These formations are also known as Archean shields. The arrow points to the Slave Craton of Canada's Northwest Territories. The North Slave region of the Northwest Territories, Canada, is a significant area for diamond mining, home to some of the country's most productive diamond mines. The discovery of diamonds in the early 1990s in the Lac de Gras area sparked a staking rush and led to the establishment of a thriving diamond industry in this remote subarctic region. The Diavik diamond mine is located on an island in Lac de Gras, about 300 kilometers northeast of Yellowknife and roughly 30 kilometers southeast of Ekati. Diavik began commercial production in 2003-2003. Jointly owned by Rio Tinto and Dominion Diamond Corporation, Diavik mines several kimberlite pipes situated under the lake, utilizing a combination of open pit and underground mining techniques. Diavik is known for producing high-quality gem-white diamonds and has also yielded some exceptionally large stones, including the largest diamond ever found in North America in the 2018. The mine has also been recognized for its technological advancements, including the implementation of a wind farm to reduce reliance on diesel power. The amazing discovery of diamond kimberlite pipes in the frozen Northwest Territories. How on earth did they discover this mine, considering it was buried under 30 feet of glaciated sediment on the bottom of Lac de Gras? Geologist Charles Fipke was convinced that the Slave Craton an ancient and stable part of the Earth's crust underlying the North Slave region, had the right geological characteristics to host diamond-bearing kimberlites. This geological setting is similar to diamond-rich areas in other parts of the world, such as southern Africa. He had been surveying for 8 years. He got a helicopter and flew back and forth over the Arctic Circle, using a magnetometer to track variations in magnetic field that would suggest kimberlite. Vipke's years of dedicated surveying and geological expertise paid off in 1991 with the discovery of indicator minerals at Lac de Gras that led to the identification of diamondiferous kimberlites, igniting Canada's diamond rush and the establishment of the mines in the North Slave region.
Since the Vipke discovery, Canada in the last 10 years has become the second largest diamond producer in the world. Canada's total primary exports of diamonds were valued at $2.6 billion in 2017. Let's turn our attention to Canada as an oil and gas producer. This chart indicates that Canada has around 10% of the world's proven oil reserves, of which 98% are located in the oil sands.
Canada is consistently ranked as one of the top 5 largest crude oil producers globally. Major production comes from the Western Canadian Sedimentary Basin, including a significant portion from the oil sands and also from offshore fields in Newfoundland and Labrador. Canada has the 3rd largest proven oil reserves in the world, largely due to the vast oil sands deposits. It is also a significant natural gas producer, typically ranking among the top 5 countries globally. Production is primarily centered in the Western Canadian Sedimentary Basin. The Athabasca oil sands, located in northern Alberta, Canada, represent one of the largest known deposits of bitumen, which is a heavy, viscous form of crude oil. This vast resource is intrinsically linked to the Athabasca River, which flows through the heart of the deposit. The Athabasca oil sands are part of a larger collection of oil sands deposits in Alberta, but the Athabasca deposit is particularly significant because a portion of it is close enough to the surface for surface mining. The deposit underlies a vast area of boreal forest and muskeg. The bitumen in the Athabasca sands is mixed with sand, clay, and water.
This has been a political hot potato for the past 10 or more years, cancelled by Obama, on again by Trump, and off again by Biden. The Keystone XL pipeline project was officially terminated on June 9, 2021 by its developer, TC Energy. This decision followed the revocation of the presidential permit for the pipeline's border crossing by the Biden administration on January the 20th, 2021. Canadian solution to the delay and protest to the pipeline was to create Canadian pucks out of oil sands, 10,000 barrels of bitumen per day, in puck shapes that are lighter and provide more efficient storage than traditional barrels. The amount of oil transported by rail within Canada drastically increased this past year. More Canadian oil is now being exported via rail to the United States. When the bitumen bricks reach their destination, they are heated to separate the oil from the plastic. Where there is a will, there is a way. We have to believe that this has to cost more than just using a pipeline.
Quickly before we finish, we should talk about coal. Canada is a significant producer of coal, although its production and domestic use have been undergoing changes driven by environmental policies and market dynamics. British Columbia is the largest coal-producing province, accounting for about 59% of national production. Canada produced 62.3 million tons of coal in 2018, of which 49% is metallurgical coal and 51% thermal coal used for electricity. Coal will continue to be used for metallurgical processes. Metallurgical coal, aka coking coal, is a high-quality coal essential for steel manufacturing. A significant portion of Canada's coal production is metallurgical coal.
Thank you for watching, and please press the like button below if you enjoyed this presentation. The like button is that little thumbs up symbol. We are planning to add many more presentations covering a wide variety of science, history, and other enriching subjects, so please subscribe to our channel by pressing the subscribe button below. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please feel free to make them, and we will do our best to respond. Again, thanks for watching, and please do subscribe.